welcome to my familia homeschool. My name is Marissa and I live in Miami, Florida with my husband and my two daughters, Abby and Ellie, and another little girl that is soon on the way. We are a family that has chosen homeschool as the way that we plan to educate our children. So today I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about what curriculum we're using this school year, at least in the part of the world where we live, and listening to a lot of the homeschool families around us. This is normally the time of year when people are starting a new school year, and that normally means some new curriculum. And so today I want to share with you the awesome, exciting resources that we are using. So to start off, I'm going to be sharing with you the resources that we are going to be using with my 5-year-old daughter. She is 5, she'll be 6 in November, and when people ask me what grade she's in, I always kind of pause a little bit because I don't know how to categorize her. If she was entering into the public school system or a normal school, she would be put into kindergarten just because of the month she was born in. But really this year, we're not using any kindergarten curriculum. Most of what we're using is first grade curriculum, and so it's kind of hard to know what to say when people ask me that question. But that's the curriculum that I'm going to be sharing with you today, and that's the beauty of homeschool, is that we can look at our kids, look at where they're at, and gauge the different kind of curriculum that would work best for them. So to start off, I'm going to be sharing the reading curriculum that we're going to be using this year. Abby is pretty good at reading in English, and so this reading curriculum is first grade reading curriculum. I'm so excited about it. This year, we're going to be using God's Big Story from Generations Homeschool. This is a curriculum company that I found last year, and I started looking into it and became really excited about the different resources that they offer. So this reading curriculum goes through different Bible stories, and I just really love how it's written. It goes through different stories starting off in the Old Testament, but always points towards our need for a Savior. Always points towards the fact that we have a problem with sin and God is going to send Jesus to save us from that sin problem. And I just have really loved it. We've used the first, I want to say 4 or 5 chapters. I think we're going to go through it pretty quick. I knew we were going to love it, and I wasn't wrong. It comes with this workbook, and the workbook has like fill in the blanks. It has crossword puzzles. I think it's really good for spelling, for vocabulary growth, and for practicing our reading. We're also using Explode the Code, the first level, just to kind of hammer down on some of those phonics skills. I don't have that one with me right now, but that's another book that we're using to work on those language arts skills. I'm not super worried about using language arts this year. Last year we went through Master Book's first grade language arts, and I'm not really ready to go into level 2 yet. Yes, she's 5 and she's kind of at a first grade level, but I don't want to push her quite to the second grade level yet, even though it's a really gentle curriculum. So right now, this is what we're using. I really, really like this company for their reading curriculum and their history. I bought their history curriculum as well, but that's not quite what we're using quite this year, but we'll talk about that more a little bit later. Next, I want to share with you what we're using to teach our daughter to read in Spanish this year. So like I said, Abby does a really good job reading in English. She's got that down. She's pretty fluid in it. And we are a bilingual family. A lot of the resources that I have are in English because we live in the United States. That's just kind of what is at our disposition, what's available to us. But it's really important to our family to put that value on the Spanish language. And soon I want to do another video where I talk about how we bring in the Spanish language into our homeschool and into our family, the different ways that we encourage our girls to speak Spanish, to read Spanish, to write Spanish. So that's something we're going to talk about soon. But to start out with, I'm going to talk about the curriculum that we're going to use to work with Abby on reading in Spanish. I had a hard time finding a curriculum for this. There's not a lot that I could find. I looked at Nacho, I looked at Coquito, and it just wasn't right. I actually bought Coquito, and I was like, this isn't working. So another YouTuber I saw talked about La Pata Pita. And so I had kind of been looking at it. It had been on my Amazon list for a while, and I decided to go ahead and get it. So this first book goes through kind of the basic way that usually I've seen reading in Spanish be taught. And so it starts with the vowels and talking about what sounds the vowels make, and then adding on consonants to the vowels. So ma, me, mi, mo, mu, and then words that you can can spell with those sounds, pape, beep, boop, boo. And then towards the end, it has stories that are a little bit more complicated that they can start working on. So this is what we're gonna be starting with. We looked through the first couple pages this week, and Abby seems really excited about it. This is like the workbook that you can buy with it. I looked through it, and this looks like something that we might start using later on in the year. I don't think she's quite ready for it yet. The next curriculum I'm going to share with you is our math curriculum. I have been on this eternal search for the perfect math curriculum, and I have not found it yet. Last year we used the math from master books, and I didn't love it. My husband is actually a mathematician. That's what he studied in college. And so I've sent him a list of resources just to kind of look at. But this is what we're trying out this year. I'm not so sure how I feel about it, but we're gonna stick with it. We're going to go through it. The good thing is she's still young. So these concepts are pretty simple. Those first grade math concepts, addition, subtraction, number recognition, stuff like that. Pretty simple stuff. And so I think we'll be okay no matter the curriculum we use. But I am continuing to be on that search for the perfect math curriculum, so I'll keep you filled in on that process. But this year, what we're going to be using is exploring creation with mathematics. And so Apologia, as most of you know, most people have heard of Apologia, is most well known for their science curriculum. But when I saw this math curriculum, I love whenever I can add Bible into whatever we're learning. So even with math, it doesn't have a ton of Bible in it. It has like a little devotional at the beginning of each unit. But this is the workbook, and it also has activities in it. So I like that it's activity based. It kind of brings math into that real life hands-on experience. And then it also has a teacher's guide. I found this used, and it actually was filled out, the workbook, until like halfway through the book, and so I went through and erased it. Ended up with like blisters on my fingers. Not sure if it was really worth the discount, but I did it, and we're gonna go with it. Next, I'm going to be talking about what we're going to be using with science for Abby. This year, we're going to be using Adventures in Creation from master books. This science curriculum, I'm really excited about it, goes through the 6 first days of creation and talks about each science concept from each day. So it starts talking about light and how that works, and then land and different science concepts to do with that, the sky and different concepts to do with that. It talks about fish and birds and animals, and then the human body. So it goes through each day of creation and talks about the science concepts there. I'm really excited about it. So something that I plan to add on to this curriculum is finding different books at the library that go through each concept that we're learning to kind of strengthen each topic. And I also have a YouTube playlist made that goes through each topic. So if this is a curriculum that you're using or interested in using, and you'd like a playlist that goes through some videos, it's actually on my channel. You can check that out. I think it says like Adventures in Creation or something like that. So this is a science curriculum we're using. And the final subject is history. This year we are using the Playful Pioneers by Peaceful Press. I just have the first month printed out right here so we don't overwhelm ourselves. But this is the Playful Pioneers by Peaceful Press. Peaceful Press has a lot of different curriculum. I've heard a lot of people talk about their preschool curriculum, and then they have other literature-based history curriculums. I wasn't a big fan of history when I was younger. I didn't like the workbook approach. I could never get into it. And so it's something that I'm really excited to learn with my girls. This curriculum goes through early American history, talks about pioneers, talks about the settlers, and it uses as its base the Little House on the Prairie books. And so this is really nostalgic for me. These are books that I read through with my mom when I was probably about Abby's age. And so this is just really sweet for me. And so it goes through American history using this as the base. There's a whole list of other picture books that you can use to add on to it. The curriculum includes recipes, it includes handcrafts, it includes crafts, different kinds of things that really bring this history to life. I love that it's story-based. I think that is the best way to learn most things, and especially history, because that's what history is. It's a story. So this is what we're going to be using for history. This is one of the Little House on the Prairie books. I have a couple more up here, and then I'm just kind of looking at eBay for the other ones. I really like the ones that have the color illustrations in them. Those are my favorite ones. And so those are the ones I have my eye out on. One more resource that we're adding in for history is History for Little Pilgrims from Christian Liberty Press. This curriculum goes through history starting with creation. And I feel like it kind of builds a really good foundation for what is history. That is something that I've realized that kids aren't born with, the concept of history. They live in the here and now, and they don't have the understanding at first that something happened before us and that something looked a lot different than what's happening now today. So I feel like this builds a really good foundation. We read the first couple pages already this week, and Abby seemed to really enjoy it. Ellie was a tag along there and she had fun too. So we're gonna be reading through this. As you can see, it's a really skinny book. It's not huge, but I think it's gonna be perfect to build that foundation. So those are the resources we are using this year for our first grader, for our 5, almost 6-year-old Abby. I'd love to hear, have you guys started your homeschool year yet? We're little by little incorporating things, going slow so it's not overwhelming. We have a baby coming this year, so I kind of want to get a head start on things so that we have time to step back when baby comes. I'd love to know, what are you guys using this year? What resources are you excited about? Let me know in the comments. What new things are you using this year? And we'll see you in our next video on My Familia Homeschool.